Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Before I start my presentation, I would like to thank to Ma'am Dwi Rianti as our supervisor and lecturer in ELT curriculum subject. Curriculum is the central guide for all educators to what is essential for teaching and learning so that every student has access to rigorous academic experiences. The school curriculum refers to all the planned learnings offered by the school. A document that outlines all the essential information about a course is called syllabus. The syllabus will usually provide specific information about the course and is often drafted by the instructor of the course. It lists the topics you will study as well as the due dates of any coursework including tests, quizzes, or exams. It also includes course policies, rules and regulations, required texts, and a schedule of assignments. A syllabus can tell you nearly everything you need to know about how a course will be run and what will be expected of you. The curriculum is a general description of the main study units. On the contrary, syllabus is a detailed content plan for a particular subject. The curriculum is mandatory. It's more like a global strategy with almost no space for alterations in implementation, while the syllabus is highly flexible and may even change during the study process based on teacher and student agreements. The choice of a syllabus is a major decision in language teaching, and it should be made as consciously and with as much information as possible. According to Cranke 1987, there are 6 types of language teaching syllabus, including a structural or formal syllabus, a notional or functional syllabus, a situational syllabus, a skill-based syllabus, a test-based syllabus, and a content-based syllabus. There have been several changes to the curriculum in Indonesia. The first curriculum in Indonesia was in 1945, followed by change and developments in 1952 until now. Let's point out the 2 curricula in Indonesia and find their similarity and differences. At this point, I will compare and contrast curriculum 1945 and curriculum KTSP. The first curriculum in Indonesia was introduced in 1945. It was a grammar translation-based curriculum. Grammar translation is one method that focuses on the translation from one language into another language and learning the rule of grammar. According to Salsa Murcia 2001, the grammar translation approach is an extension of the approach used to teach classical language to the teaching of modern languages. The focus of the grammar translation-based curriculum is on accuracy. It is identical to long elaborate explanations of the details of grammar. The teacher is the center of the teaching and learning process. In the classroom, they give instructions and develop the teaching materials. In the classroom, the teacher presents the language structure so they will dominate in the process. They also present the rules and organize the practice. Grammar translation approach was suitable for large classes, relatively cheap, and requires mastery of the grammar of the language. Curriculum Tingkat Satuan Pendidikan or KTSP was introduced in 2006. It was a competency-based curriculum. The competency-based curriculum is a curriculum that emphasizes what learners are expected to do rather than mainly focusing on what they are expected to know. A competence-based curriculum focuses on developing competence by certain performance standards that had been set. Competency-based curriculum implement the communicative approach. The communicative approach is based on the idea that learning a language successfully comes through having to communicate real meaning. When learners are involved in real communication, their natural strategies for language acquisition will be used, and this will allow them to learn to use the language. Teachers were required to act as facilitators and monitors. Learners were required to engage in cooperative learning activities rather than individualistic ones in the classroom. Instead of looking to the teacher as a model, students had to learn to listen to their peers when working in groups or pairs. Learners were expected to take on greater responsibility for their learning. From this explanation, we can conclude that one of the differences between the curriculum 1955 and KTSP lies in the role of the teacher and students in the classroom. The 1945 curriculum was teacher-oriented, so the teacher is the center of the learning process, while KTSP emphasized the role of the student, so the students become the center of the learning process. Curriculum 1945 focused on accuracy, while KTSP focused on competency. Both of them support students' language skill, even though KTSP is much more interactive. What are the differences between grammar translation and communicative approach? Do they still have something in common? The communicative approach is far more interactive than grammar translation. The grammar translation method emphasizes reading and writing skills, but less supports listening and speaking skills. While the communicative approach doesn't only support reading and writing skills, but also emphasizes listening and speaking skills. However, communicative approach usually spends more budget, while grammar translation is cheaper. For instance, to support a communicative approach, supporting devices are needed, such as sound system for listening class. In grammar translation method, there's not much interaction between students, and mostly they do not have interaction in teaching and learning process. As a result, the students do not communicate with each other using the target language, and their knowledge is exclusively from the teacher. With a communicative approach, students are more flexible and even required to interact and communicate with their friends, especially in group projects. However, not all students are good at communicating. Some are awkward during a conversation, so teachers must help their students to communicate confidently if they want to apply a communicative approach. After comparing the two approaches, it can be concluded that both have their own strengths and weaknesses. Despite the differences, both still provide benefits in language learning. Which one is more effective is determined by the needs of the students and teachers and the culture of the school. Alright, that's all from me, and this is the end of my presentation. Thank you, and last I say, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.